Ryland stood on the cracked ground of the frontier station and watched the sky turn darker than night. The alarm had already warned everyone that an unknown alien ship was approaching, but no one expected something so huge that it covered the sun itself. The shadow stretched across the entire camp. The wind stopped moving. Even the birds fell silent in the distance. It felt as if the world was holding its breath. The soldiers around him whispered in fear. Many stepped back. A few ran toward the shelter without waiting for orders. Ryland could not blame them. Everyone had heard stories about the alien vampire queen, a ruler from a far star system whose presence could make armies fall apart. No one had ever seen her with their own eyes, but many believed she was powerful enough to stop a battle without lifting a hand. When the ship landed, the ground shook. Dust rose in a great cloud. The front gate of the human station opened as officers hurried to organize an evacuation. Ryland's commander shouted at everyone to fall back. But before the humans could retreat far, the ship door opened with a slow, metallic sound. A tall figure walked down the ramp. The soldiers froze as soon as they saw her. The alien vampire queen, Siraxa, looked nothing like the frightening image people imagined. Her appearance was calm, controlled, and strangely graceful. Her eyes shone with a soft glow, and her steps made no sound even on the broken metal of the ramp. A long cloak followed behind her, moving like smoke. Fear spread through the human soldiers. Many dropped their weapons, some hid behind vehicles. No one wanted to face her, no one except Ryland. He felt the same fear as everyone else. Maybe even more because he understood what her arrival meant. But he also knew running would solve nothing. The frontier station protected several nearby towns. If the soldiers abandoned the place, civilians would be left with no defense. So Ryland stayed where he was, feet planted firmly, hands steady at his sides. Siraxa stopped walking when she noticed him. She was still far away, yet he felt a strange pressure in the air, like invisible clouds pushing on his chest. For a moment he struggled to breathe, but he kept standing. She tilted her head very slowly, studying him with curious eyes. All the other humans had stepped back. Ryland was alone on the front line. Siraxa's voice came across the open space, soft and even, but strong enough for everyone to hear. She did not shout. She did not threaten. Her words simply carried across the air as if the wind helped her speak. "You do not run," she said. "Why?" Ryland swallowed. His heart beat fast, but he lifted his chin. "Running will not help. Someone has to stand here." Her glowing eyes watched him without blinking. "Courage. A rare thing among your kind when fear is so near." Ryland did not know if that was supposed to be an insult or a compliment. He kept his voice calm. "If you came to start a fight, you will not find an easy target." Siraxa stepped forward. Every soldier behind Ryland moved farther back. Even the commanders did not call out to him. Everyone seemed too afraid to speak. As the queen came closer, the pressure in the air grew stronger. The ground almost seemed to hum under her feet. Ryland's legs shook, but he stayed in place. He thought she might attack or try to control his mind like the stories claimed, but she simply stopped a few steps away and looked at him directly. "You are a strange human," she said. "Most hide from me, but you come forward." "Someone has to protect this place," he answered. Siraxa closed her eyes for a moment. The glow dimmed, then returned brighter. When she opened them again, the pressure in the air suddenly increased. It was not painful, but heavy, like thick water pressing against his body. It felt as if she was testing him, seeing how long he could stay on his feet. Ryland clenched his jaw. His legs felt weak. His breath came short. But he refused to bow, refused to fall, refused to step back. The soldiers watching from behind gasped. They had never seen a human stay standing under the presence of the queen. Slowly, the pressure faded. Siraxa observed him with unreadable eyes. "Strong spirit," she said softly. "Stronger than most who have faced me." Rylan wished he could take a step back to breathe, but he stood straight. "Why are you here? What do you want?" Before Siraxa could answer, the sky lit up again. This time the color was not shadow, but bright crimson. A second alien ship appeared above the clouds, a smaller but much faster craft. Its lights flashed aggressively. Warning signals echoed in the distant hills as its weapons charged. Siraxa turned her head sharply. Her calm expression changed for the first time. It was not fear, but annoyance. Rylan felt a chill go down his spine as he sensed that whoever had arrived was not on her side. A loud explosion shook the air. The rival ship fired at the Queen's vessel, hitting its outer shields. Flames burst high. Human soldiers panicked once again. Some tripped while running. Others shouted orders that got drowned out in the noise. Rylan did not move. His eyes locked on the sky. "Who are they?" Siraxa answered in a low voice. "Enemies who follow me across the stars. They seek to capture me. They care nothing for your world. They will destroy everything here if they must." More explosions followed, each one closer than the last. Rylan understood what that meant. The rival faction did not care about the humans. This place, these people, the nearby towns, everything could be wiped out if the attackers wanted Siraxa badly enough. He took a step forward toward the Queen. "Then we need to fight them together." Siraxa raised a brow. "You would stand beside me?" "If they destroy this station, your enemy wins anyway," Rylan said. "And we lose everything. So yes." For a moment, Siraxa said nothing. She stared at him as if measuring the weight of his words. Then she lifted one hand slowly. Energy shimmered around her fingers like light bending in water. A protective barrier formed around her, thin but bright. "You lead your soldiers," she said. "I will protect this ground." Another explosion flashed across the sky. The rival ship circled, ready to attack again. Rylan turned to the human soldiers behind him. "Stop running!" he shouted. "We fight now! Prepare defenses!" His voice cut through the panic, strong and clear. Some soldiers paused. Others turned back with confusion. When they saw him standing beside the Queen, their fear changed into something else, hesitation mixed with courage. A few returned to their positions. Then more. They grabbed weapons, activated shield generators, and formed lines. Rylan ran to them, giving fast orders, helping them steady their hands, guiding them to cover. Siraxa watched him from a distance. Her eyes followed his every movement, and her expression softened with a calm interest. She had not expected a human to take command so quickly or with such natural strength. When the rival attackers finally descended from the sky, the battlefield was ready. Humans stood beside alien guards who had come out of Siraxa's ship to defend their queen. The two groups had never fought together before, but for this moment, they needed each other. Rylan took his place again at the front. He did not stand behind cover. He stood in the open, near Siraxa. The first wave of attackers landed. They looked dangerous with their dark armor and glowing weapons. But Rylan stepped forward without hesitation. The Queen stepped forward beside him. Winds blew across the broken ground. Dust lifted off the earth. The battlefield held its breath. Rylan tightened his grip on his weapon. Siraxa raised her hand again, energy gathering around her like a quiet storm. The rival soldiers charged toward them. Rylan felt his heart race, but there was no fear in his legs. He took a deep breath, ready to fight. The Queen beside him glowed brighter as the attack began, and in that moment the humans saw something new, something powerful. A human warrior and an alien vampire queen standing side by side, ready to defend the ground no one else had dared to protect. The battle was about to begin, and Rylan knew everything would change from this moment on. The attack began with a sharp cry from the rival alien soldiers as they rushed across the battlefield. Their weapons glowed bright blue, sending thin beams of energy across the cracked ground. Rylan moved fast, pulling a soldier behind cover just before one of the beams cut through the air where the soldier had stood. Dust and heat washed over them. The battlefield turned wild in seconds. Saraxa stepped forward with a calm that made no sense in the middle of so much chaos. A soft light opened around her like a thin shell. Every energy beam that touched it bent away harmlessly. Her guards moved in perfect formation behind her, defending her with quick motions and controlled strength. They were silent, focused, and almost graceful even while fighting. Rylan stayed close to her. He fired carefully, aiming at attackers who tried to reach the human defense line. His team watched him for signals, copying his movements, fighting beside him even though fear still lived in their eyes. The rival soldiers were fast. They spread across the battlefield trying to reach Saraxa, but Rylan saw their plan. He shouted directions, helping the humans and the Queen's guards hold the line together. For the first time, two groups who had never trusted each other now fought side by side. The ground shook again when the rival ship fired another blast. A burning streak of fire shot across the sky. It struck the ground only a few meters away, throwing Rylan off his feet. He rolled in the dirt and quickly got up, coughing. Saraxa appeared beside him, her glowing eyes watching him. "You rise quickly," she said. Rylan wiped the dust from his face. "No time to lie down." She seemed almost amused by his answer, but before she could speak, another wave of attackers charged toward them. Saraxa raised her arm and released a pulse of light. The air rippled like heat. The pulse moved forward, knocking the attackers back without harming them. They stumbled and fell, giving the humans and Saraxa's guards a moment to breathe. Rylan noticed something. The rival soldiers were not trying to win the battle. They were trying to surround Saraxa. Their movements were too focused on her. She was their target, not the humans. He ran toward her. "They're trying to capture you." Saraxa nodded. "That is their mission." "Then we need to stop them now," Rylan said. Saraxa looked at him with a steady gaze, as if studying his determination again. "You will stand against them even though they do not target your people directly." Rylan did not answer with words. He simply stepped in front of her, lifted his weapon, and faced the attackers coming toward them. His actions spoke clearly enough. The Queen's expression changed, becoming calm and serious. "Very well, human warrior. Let us stop them." The attackers rushed again. Rylan fired with precision while Saraxa moved her hand in slow circles, creating shields of light that blocked incoming shots. Her guards joined from both sides, forming a protective arc. Human soldiers supported them from behind, firing at enemies who slipped through the gaps. The battlefield turned loud with shouts, blasts, and heavy footsteps. Smoke rose in the air, the smell of burned metal mixed with dust and earth. But even with all the noise, Rylan could hear his own heartbeat clearly, part fear, part focus. Then something unexpected happened. The rival ship lowered closer to the ground. The air vibrated around it. A bright beam shot down from its center, aiming directly at Saraxa. It was not a weapon. It was a capture beam. Rylan reacted without thinking. He ran straight toward the Queen and pushed her out of the beam's path. The capture field hit the ground behind them, creating a strong hum. Saraxa landed lightly, but Rylan fell harder, rolling across the dirt. Saraxa hurried to him. "Why do you endanger yourself for me?" Rylan struggled to speak as he pushed himself up. "Because you're trying to help my people too, and I won't let them take you." For a moment, something warm and almost gentle appeared in the Queen's eyes. A strange respect, different from before. She extended a hand and helped him stand. Before they could say anything more, the rival ship shifted position and prepared another beam. This time, Rylan knew they had to stop the ship or the battle would never end. "We need to take it down," he said. Saraxa nodded. "I will weaken its shields. You and your soldiers must strike the engines." Rylan gave quick instructions to his team. They prepared heavy weapons that were stored in the station for emergencies. While the humans aimed at the sky, Saraxa lifted both her hands. Her eyes glowed brighter than before. A soft light rose around her like a storm building from silence. The energy moved upward in a long arc, striking the rival ship's shield. The protective layer around the ship flickered and shook. "Now!" Rylan shouted. Human soldiers fired all at once. The concentrated blast hit the weakened shields and pushed through. Flames burst from one side of the ship. It dipped sideways, losing control. The capture beam stopped. Smoke poured from the engines. The rival soldiers on the ground looked up in shock. Their ship circled once, struggling to stay in the air. Then it crashed far beyond the hill, sending a tall pillar of smoke into the sky. Cheers rose from the humans. Saraxa's guards lifted their weapons in silent victory. Rylan let out a long breath he didn't realize he was holding. But the battle was not over yet. The remaining rival soldiers tried to escape. Some ran toward their transport craft. Others dropped their weapons in surrender. Saraxa stepped forward. A gentle wave of energy moved across the ground, stopping the fleeing soldiers in their tracks without harming them. They froze, unable to continue. Rylan stared at her in surprise. "You could do that the whole time?" Saraxa shook her head. "I use this ability only when the enemy is weakened. It is safer for everyone." Rylan nodded. He understood. She was powerful, but she was careful with how she used her power. As the battlefield fell quiet, the wind returned, blowing away smoke and dust. The sun finally broke through the clouds left by the ships. Light covered the ground where so many had fought. Human officers gathered around Rylan, shocked that he was still standing. Some looked at Saraxa with respect they did not have before. Others simply watched silently, unable to understand how the battle had turned. Saraxa walked toward Rylan. "Your strength is not only in battle," she said. "Your spirit carried your people today." Rylan looked around at the soldiers who had followed his orders. They were tired, dirty, shaken, but alive. "They did it together," he said. "I just helped." Saraxa studied him quietly. "You protected your people, and you protected me. My people do not forget such actions." Rylan felt unsure how to respond. He scratched the back of his neck. "Well, it was the right thing to do." The Queen stepped closer. "I came to your world seeking someone brave enough to stand before me without fear. Someone who could speak for humanity in the future." She paused. "I did not expect to find him today." Rylan blinked, confused. "Speak for humanity?" "There is a greater enemy moving across the galaxy," Saraxa explained. "My people need allies. Your world needs allies. You showed courage and judgment on a battlefield where fear controlled others. You can stand between our worlds." Rylan felt a heavy silence around him. He had never imagined anything like this. He had only wanted to protect the frontier station. Now the Queen was asking him to play a part that seemed far bigger than anything he ever trained for. He looked at the ground, then slowly lifted his head. "If this can save lives, I'll do it." Saraxa's eyes softened. "Then we will begin a new path." Human soldiers watched silently as the Queen extended her hand toward Rylan. It was not a command. It was a gesture of trust. Rylan placed his hand in hers. A light breeze brushed across the battlefield as if approving the moment. The remaining alien guards bowed slightly. The humans relaxed their weapons. The air felt different, lighter, as if something new had begun. Saraxa spoke softly. "From today onward, you are a friend of my empire, and together, we will face what is coming." Rylan stood beside her, a tired but steady smile on his face. He did not know what future challenges waited beyond the stars, but he knew he would not face them alone. The Queen turned toward her ship. Her guards opened a path. Rylan followed her steps. Every soldier who had once run from her now watched him with pride. The battlefield was quiet, but in that silence, something powerful echoed. A story of a brave human warrior who stood when everyone else ran and who changed the fate of two worlds with one decision. Ryland took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready for the journey ahead, ready for whatever waited among the stars. The alliance had begun.